during my career in the military, we always stressed that people that understand the principles and they apply those principles will always be successful. And because you got to rely on the person to your right and left. You got to truly care about the people in your organization and help them with the stuff that's going on, whether it's on a personal level or professional level, because if their mind is right, they're always going to be able to focus better.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back, Championship Leadership Podcast. And we got a great guest today, Jeremiah Hardy from Amana, Iowa, currently. And Jeremiah, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, Nate. This was great. The opportunity to be on your show is pretty cool. You do a lot of good things.
Yeah, well, thanks, man. And, I know we were both in the Army, and so we've got some shared experiences there. I'm trying to remember, who was it, Jarek, that connected us, or who was it that connected us?
It was Jarek. As a matter of fact, yeah, you were a guest on his program.
Yeah.
And we connected there. And so yeah.
That's what I thought. Cool. I was trying to remember, I get connections on a fairly frequent basis, but yeah, I thought I remembered that. So, well, that's enough about that. Let's hop into it. What comes to mind for you when you hear championship leadership? That's the name of the podcast, obviously. So I like to it's like the icebreaker of the podcast.
Well, what I focus on in my business and kind of the way I feel about leadership, it's similar but different than the way you do it. So you bring it to a whole new level, man. And I love what you do because you're literally taking people through these stressful things and letting them kind of learn something new about themselves, that they were able to go to push themselves past where they expected that they'd be able to push.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
As far as what I focus on is champion leaders are those who truly serve the people in their environment. So whether it's their family or the people at work, or if they volunteer, it doesn't really matter. I focus on building that servant leader mentality. So the reason that makes somebody a champion is because when you serve everyone around you, it tends to build them up, and you tend to help other people win as well.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. And couldn't agree more, man. And I just love, we always get a different answer. So I don't know. Maybe one of these days we won't, but it's fun to hear all the different answers to what championship leadership is to different people. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your background? I know we just barely glazed over it. I mean, didn't really say much other than you were in the Army. So yeah, give us a little backstory to you and your path to where you are today. And then of course, what is it that you're up to right now?
Yeah. So I grew up in Iowa. Who knows why I came back, but I did.
Yeah. Isn't that the way it goes? When you leave, you're like, I'm never coming back. And then when you get older, you a lot of times we find ourselves right back where we started. So there's nothing wrong with that.
True. So where I came from over here, everybody that I grew up around, they're still kind of in the same boat. And it was kind of interesting, but I grew up from nothing really. We had a lot of love in our house, but we didn't have a lot of money. We struggled sometimes figuring out where the next meal was going to come from. And so I've worked really, really hard over the years. When I turned 18, I joined the military. My neighbor across the street, he saw something in me, or he was just trying to make his numbers, and he recruited me.
Yeah, right.
He recruited me into the military. And, from that point, I've been truly blessed, actually, because throughout the years, there have just been so many people who believe in me. And, if it wasn't for that, because I didn't honestly believe in myself when I was super young, I was lost. I did spend some time where I got kicked out of the house, and I lived kind of close to being on the street, but not exactly, bouncing around with different friends and family members. And so to go into an environment where everybody just kind of believed in me and pushed me as hard as they could to win and grow throughout the years, it really, really helped me become a different person. And so leading to now, well, in the military, I did transportation logistics management. So I retired as a warrant officer in 2018.
Okay.
And so leading
20
to
years or how long?
it was 18. I ended up getting involved in that Terra program that there was for a little while. So I was
Okay.
able to, it was either choose to get the medical retirement or
Yeah.
get the use the Terra program and get paid my 2.5% a year. And so I chose that. And then I got my
Okay.
VA anyway. So
Nice. Good.
it worked out.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, 18 years is a long time.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I
Yeah.
wanted to do a heck of a lot more, but God has plans for everybody. But
Yep.
now I have worked a few jobs since I retired, but now I've started my own business. I do leadership coaching, and I've helped a few clients one-on-one, but it seems like people are really interested in collaboration and getting with their peers in different fields to learn from one another. And so that's kind of the direction that my company is moving in right now.
Yeah.
But as a former soldier, I think you understand what had the importance of pivoting to what the needs are. So that's kind of what's going on in my business right now. I've only been doing this for about almost 8 months.
Excellent, man. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and I know we connected a little while ago, like we said, and it's good to it's fun to see, you grow and in the path that you're on, and we're on similar journeys. So it's awesome to be able to collaborate, together as well, and support others that are kind of doing the same thing. So, who have been some of the championship leaders, if you will, in your life, and more so, like what are some of the characteristics that have really stood out about those individuals that maybe has kind of helped mold who you are as a leader?
Sure. So one person that really sticks out for me, there are two people, but the first one would be my grandfather. So he was a not so small business owner, and to know that my parents were the way they were, but they came from the same place that he came from, and he was able to make so much of himself. He actually pushed me into joining the military, and when he did, he said those famous words, "Don't you ever come back."
He did.
And so I did come
Here
back
you
to
are.
visit. So yes, but it's interesting. He said that because I'm just going to be honest with you. I was into drugs, and I was a violent person, and there were just a lot of things in my youth that I had problems with myself.
Sure.
Though there was love in my house, it was kind of broken. There was a lot of screaming and things that probably shouldn't have been there. And when I come back to Iowa and I look at this area through a different lens after I've grown as a person,
mm-hmm.
When you're in the nasty stuff, that's all you see. Is the nasty stuff. But when you are a changed person and you want to be around different people, those people are there too. So I have found in the business community over here that I've been able to surround myself with a bunch of like-minded individuals that they challenge you with questions and actions and different things in a way that I appreciate. So the area is completely different. So I'm happy that my journey has turned out the way it has. And I think that now I have so much to give back, just like you.
Yeah, I love the Midwest. I love Iowa, and there's just there's something about it, that's for sure. What'd your grandpa do, or how did your parents not end up in the family business, or maybe it wasn't so much of a family business, but how
it was a family business.
Okay.
I love my mother and I love my father, but the one thing that I can say about them is that when the worst things happen in their life, they focus on them and they don't understand how to see past it.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I don't even know if they care to. I think they kind of like their lot in life the way it is, and they have found a way to let other people cater to them. And I've always seen that there has to be another way.
Yeah.
It's no way to live. I don't want to live off the government's money, except for I did serve in the military. So I guess I
Right.
did,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
worked my butt off
You
for
would
it,
definitely work for it. Right. Yeah.
But and I'm not trying to say anything bad about my parents, but they just have a
Yeah.
different outlook on life than he did. And so though they may have helped out in the business every once in a while, that was never in the cards for them.
Sure.
And
Yeah. You
so
got it.
his business was so he actually owned a tire and auto mechanic shop, and he owned 3 of them in the area.
Okay.
And so yeah, he just a dynamic guy.
Yeah.
He actually
Yeah.
served a short stint in the Army as well. He was a
Okay.
veteran.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. What's well, why is it that you do what you do? I always ask about people's vision, but yeah, just curious. Because I feel like there's probably like if there's certain things we can do to make a living, and there's probably a lot of others that are a little bit easier than what we do to earn a living. But
I guarantee that's true.
So I'm always curious why you're doing what you do. Obviously, there's got to be a big reason behind it.
So, during my career in the military, we always stressed that people that understand the principles and they apply those principles will always be successful. And because you got to rely on the person to your right and left. You got to truly care about the people in your organization and help them with the stuff that's going on, whether it's on a personal level or professional level, because if their mind is right, they're always going to be able to focus better.
Yeah.
That's missing in the civilian workforce. People are always threatened to get fired. They're so quick to train somebody, and if that person's struggling with it, rather than put them through the right amount of remedial training to get them where they need to be, they'll push them out of a job. There's no counseling program at most places that you go, and so leadership development is just lacking. It's just lacking. So
Yeah.
even if I don't make a whole crap load of money, if I can show up to all these networking events and just push every single time I have to do my introduction, how important it is to take care of those people to your right and left, up and down, then maybe there can be a change.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. We need more of you out there for sure. I say a lot lately. I even made a post here today, and kind of the same thing, man. I think the world is starving for leaders and for great leaders to step up and to really, to take charge and lead and help, now more than ever in my lifetime anyways. So, and I think we're similar in age. So our lifetime.
Yep.
What is if you could think back to a critical moment in life, right? You made the decision that you did, which has you where you are today, but had you not, you'd be in a very different place. Maybe you could share 1 or 2 of those. And I think there's a lot of power for others to hear, how certain people have responded in those moments when they're in them themselves right now.
Yeah. So I ended up in jail, and it was my grandfather, my neighbor, who's a recruiter, who, by the way, I knew him for a long time, even before he was a recruiter. And they both talked to me, and they're like, look, you're always helping people out, and you're doing the right thing most of the time, but you're just surrounding yourself with a bunch of knuckleheads.
Yeah.
And, if you could just get yourself out of this environment, you're going to thrive. And I just didn't listen to him for a long time. Well, eventually I did. And, it's kind of the same story from when I went from enlisted to warrant officer, but
yeah,
they pushed me and they pushed me and they pushed me. And eventually I said, you know what, take me up to the recruiting station and show me what paperwork I got to fill out. There's got to be something better.
Yeah.
And it was after it was a week in jail. And so, thank goodness it wasn't prison, but I really believe that if I would have stuck around here with the same group, it would have ended up there.
Yeah.
And I was which is weird because I was always afraid of getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Which is so strange.
Yeah.
It's the same way when I became a warrant officer. Somebody was like, you know what, you have the technical expertise to move up to that next level. You know, you're an E7 now.
Yeah.
Chances are in your field, you'll never get promoted past that because it's very rare. It was just the way that always worked. And they said, quit effing around.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, I put my packet in and got picked up and did it. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just being surrounded by the right people saying the right things at the right time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And you know, it lets me know that somebody's looking out for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what a testament it is to that. You know, sometimes that's what it is. It's the right person coming around the right time that's to see something in you more than you are able to see in yourself. And you don't even understand why sometimes they can see this in you, you know? And, but I think it's just, it's absolutely important to have those types of people in your life and to be, I guess, also open to it. Right.
Yep.
Cause like you said, you know, again, just kind of back to what your parents, like there's people that have a certain mindset or perspective in life that would have them miss an opportunity like that when someone's trying to pour into them. Right. So again, being open to receive it is a big part of that equation as well, I think.
That's true. And you know, my goodness, and they're such good people. So if they just changed their mindset, they could have accomplished, their life could have gone in the complete opposite direction.
Yeah. 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 And I'm not banging on your parents.
No. I know you're not. No, you know, that was more of an internal thought process more than thinking you were saying something. I would never allude to that.
No, because there's a lot of people out there that would fit that bill for sure.
Yes.
And it's not good or bad. It's just the way it is. So
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. What would be one or two things, whether that's, you know, things that you talk to your clients about when it comes to leadership or just personally, kind of some principles that you live by that if the listener today were to implement into their life today could help move them forward right now, what might those be?
Yeah. So one thing that I talk to a lot of people about is, you know, comfort is the enemy of success. So people are always asking me, well, what's one thing I can do to make myself uncomfortable then? And I'm like, well, who do you hang out with? What do you talk to them about? You know, where are you looking to grow? So the biggest thing that I always tell people is, you know, if you put yourself in rooms constantly where you are not being challenged, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So if you're a social person and you go out and you're trying to grow as an individual, you need to find those groups. You need to find those people to surround yourself with that will challenge you on a day-to-day basis and help you learn and grow. If you're just hanging around the same people always and you're expecting something to change, well, that's a definition of insanity. You're just not going to change.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Absolutely. Yeah. It's, and I know I've seen it for myself personally and just continuing to stretch myself and, you know, make some investments that are sometimes are very painful to make, but to always see a return just by consistently pushing yourself and expanding that network, putting yourself in rooms that sometimes you feel like you don't even belong, you know, but,
yeah,
that's
why
where
am
the
I
growth
here?
happens. Yeah, exactly. Well, I love it. Well, is there, what's the best way? I don't, social media, we can follow you, website, best place we could connect with you and find out more about what you're doing. I know you've been focused in on really bringing people together through some peer groups to help people grow and help, you know, as inside of leadership and business and life. So yeah, what would be the best way for the listener to find out more about you and what you got going on?
Well, you can look up Victory Leadership Coaching on Instagram, Facebook. You can look it up on Google and you'll find me. I don't know if you put links in your comments, but I'd be happy to throw my link tree there. That also has a link to my Facebook group. It's called the Leaders Lounge, and I do a free 30 minutes of training every Friday on there. So
excellent. Yeah, absolutely. We'll get that in there.
Okay.
you know, if you're driving or whatever, it'll be easily accessible for you as you're listening here today. But I appreciate you being here today, Jeremiah. And, you know, if you're listening right now and you've enjoyed this conversation, don't go anywhere. We got more incredible guests just like Jeremiah here today. Again, thank you so much. It was great having you on the show, my brother.
Thanks, Nate.